Ever felt like something's not quite right with the history books? What if I told you that almost 300 years of the past might be completely fabricated? Buckle up, history buffs, because we're diving deep into a mind-bending theory that could rewrite everything you thought you knew. In 1991, a German historian named Heribert Illig dropped a historical bombshell: the phantom time hypothesis. Imagine a world where the years 614 to 911 AD never actually happened. It sounds like science fiction, right? But Illig argues that nearly 3 centuries of our history are nothing more than a cleverly constructed illusion. Illig's theory suggests that we should actually be living in the year 1727, not 2025. This isn't just a minor discrepancy. It's a claim that challenges the very foundation of our historical understanding. Get ready to question everything you've learned about the Middle Ages. So what's the core of this audacious claim? Illig believes that during the early Middle Ages, powerful figures conspired to manipulate the timeline. He points fingers at the Holy Roman Empire and the Catholic Church, suggesting they orchestrated a grand deception. Why would they do such a thing? Illig argues it was all about power and legitimacy. By adding fabricated years to the timeline, these institutions could bolster their authority and appear more divinely ordained. It's a bold claim, suggesting history was deliberately rewritten to serve a political agenda. Illig's theory hinges on the idea that the years between 614 and 911 AD were entirely invented. He claims the church and medieval rulers added these years to the timeline to justify their reigns and bolster their authority. This means events like the rise of Charlemagne and the Carolingian Empire might be historical fiction. One of Illig's key arguments is the lack of substantial archaeological evidence from this period. He points out the scarcity of tangible remnants that could conclusively prove the existence of large cities or civilizations. Are these missing pieces of the puzzle evidence of a fabricated past? Illig also highlights anomalies in medieval documents. He points to inconsistencies, sudden gaps, and conflicting dates in surviving chronicles. These aren't just minor errors, he argues, but signs of deliberate manipulation. He suggests that these gaps and inconsistencies are evidence of a deliberate attempt to manipulate the timeline. It's like finding typos in a forged document. They betray the underlying deception. Could these historical typos be the key to unlocking the truth? The introduction of the Gregorian calendar in the 16th century is another piece of Illig's puzzle. While most historians see it as a simple reform to fix inaccuracies in the Julian calendar, Illig believes it was part of a larger cover-up. He suggests that the calendar was intentionally altered to obscure the phantom years and align the timeline with the power structures of the time. It's a fascinating twist, suggesting that even our modern calendar might be built on a foundation of historical manipulation. How could such a massive deception go unnoticed for so long? Illig argues that it was a coordinated effort involving scholars, historians, artists, architects, and religious leaders. It wasn't just about altering written records. It was about creating a unified and accepted history. The goal was to make the medieval church and the Holy Roman Empire appear as legitimate and powerful as possible. It's a chilling thought, that the very fabric of our historical narrative could have been woven with threads of deceit. Illig's hypothesis challenges the entire concept of the Middle Ages. For centuries, we've been taught that it was a dark and tumultuous period. But according to Illig, much of this history was fabricated. Instead of the Dark Ages, we might have simply been taught a false narrative of what occurred during that time. It's a radical idea that forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about this pivotal period in history. What about the famous historical figures we think we know from the Middle Ages? Illig suggests that figures like Charlemagne might not have existed at all, or at least not in the way we've been taught. In Illig's view, these figures were created or exaggerated to fit the narrative that the Church and the Empire wanted to project. It's a shocking claim that challenges the very existence of some of history's most iconic figures. Of course, the phantom time hypothesis has faced plenty of criticism. Most historians point to independent sources from various regions of the world that align with the traditional timeline. The Islamic world, China, and the Byzantine Empire All have historical records that seem to match up with the generally accepted dates. There's also the question of how the idea of lost time could be explained. How could multiple civilizations, spread across the world, be involved in such a vast conspiracy? These are valid points that highlight the challenges of Illig's theory. Despite the criticisms, some intriguing aspects of the phantom time hypothesis remain. Illig isn't the only one to question the accuracy of the historical timeline. Many historians have pointed out inconsistencies or strange gaps in the records from the early Middle Ages. Some researchers believe that the Dark Ages were perhaps not as dark as we've been led to believe, and that the period was simply underdocumented. These lingering questions keep the debate alive and remind us that history is always open to interpretation. One of the most fascinating aspects of Illig's theory is the implications it has for our understanding of the past. If the phantom time hypothesis were true, it would mean that much of what we think we know about history has been shaped by manipulation and misinformation. It would also mean that our understanding of human civilization, from its earliest days, is built on a foundation of doubt. It's a sobering thought that forces us to question the very nature of historical truth. The theory raises some very real questions about the reliability of historical sources. How much of what we know about the past can we truly trust? How do we know that the documents and artifacts we rely on are genuine? What if history, as we know it, is based on false assumptions and deliberate alterations? These are crucial questions that challenge us to think critically about the sources of our knowledge. For now, the phantom time hypothesis remains a controversial and speculative idea. Most historians dismiss it, but it continues to captivate the imaginations of those who question the conventional narrative. Perhaps the most important question Illig's theory raises is, how do we know what we think we know? If we can't trust the records of the past, then how can we trust the future? It's a question that resonates far beyond the realm of historical debate. So what do you think? Could we really have lost 300 years of history? Or is this just an elaborate myth? The truth is out there, waiting to be discovered. Don't just sit there wondering. Dive deeper into this fascinating topic. Research Heribert Illig's work. Explore the counter-arguments, and form your own informed opinion. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's unravel this historical mystery together. And if you enjoyed this mind-bending journey, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights into the mysteries of our history and the world. Your support helps us bring you more thought-provoking content. Click that notification bell so you never miss an upload.